I'm sorry, we're
Uh,
right in the middle of something here, and then technical snafu here.
okay.
So we have my better half came back last night, so I was excited to see her after her nice trip to
Madeira,
to Spain. Yeah,
Portugal, Portugal.
Portugal. Yes, yes, yes. Portugal. I said Spain, but you flew through Spain going out there. But no, it was awesome. She had a great time, and we can maybe share some insights on that. But it's funny because it relates into as an add-on to what I did last week and then what we're going to talk about today, and it ties into Patty's trip. About we talk about this all the time with you guys. We want to stay active as we get older. So we don't feel old. We're not. We're not old, even though we're masters runners. It pains me to say that,
Yeah.
but it's reality. And as Patty was traveling, she'll share a little bit here about just you got to have those strength, those mobility, all those health things so you can do all these things if you choose to. You don't have to, but I'm saying if you choose to, and we like to travel. So now she's got me motivated so we can start to next year start getting back to doing some traveling.
Yeah, it was really awesome. I mean, just seeing that's a whole culture, that whole island there. You would have to be in pretty decent shape to just live there because hills, steep hills, everything. People walk everywhere. There's as many runners as I see running here in Austin or anywhere else. Tons of runners on the little path that I was taking, and these were not, like I said, these were not 20-year-olds. Some were, but a lot of them were my age and older, and a lot of the people that have lived there their whole lives. A lot of them, and you see how they've embraced a other cultures. They do walk more than we do. They have cities that are designed so you can walk to places, so it's more conducive for that. But the terrain, the mountains, all these things that they have access to, and the beautiful water, these are things that keep you healthy and you want to engage and you want to do this, and seeing that just revitalized, like, you know, we don't always like to get in the gym and lift those weights. We don't always like to do that stuff. We don't always like to do that extra mobility work. We don't like to do all that stuff. We just want to, get out there and run. But that's a huge part of not only being able to run well, but being able to run well and live well later in life.
Yeah, and she was commenting to me about how when she was traveling about it's you see people in the airports and having the ability to just move around those things, move your luggage and all that stuff. It's a big deal as we get older. You see a lot of people who struggle with that, and we don't want to be one of those.
Exactly. You want to be able to, if you put your carry-on in the upper thing, be able to get that out of there, and not have someone do it for you. And not that that's, terrible, but the more autonomy we have as older, I think the more gracefully we can grow older and accept what's happening, because it is inevitable, because, we know what the alternative is. So,
yeah, as painful as it is to say that we're getting older, but we got to enjoy it where we can, which is why we do all this stuff, right? So we will going to share some slides here. We're going to talk a little bit today about what we feel are the secrets to longevity.
And it's not really secrets. It's stuff that you need to do, but we want to always keep putting those in, a reminder. And that,
yeah, as I got some tech issues here, just moving around some stuff. So yeah, real quick here, as we always say each week, stuff is just that we research, not medical advice by any means. And we want to motivate you guys, and we want to share what we research on our side and what we practice.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's take for it what you will, but we both know that we're going to be strong later in life, and that we're going to keep running later in life. And it's the things that we've done and changed that are going to allow us to do that. So we always like to share things that we've come across, but take it for what you want and do with it, and always do your own research. So
yeah, exactly. As I like this quote here today, I'm built from strength. That's what we are practicing. We want you guys to practice the same thing. We want to motivate and inspire you guys, and hopefully hold you accountable. And you can hold us accountable as well, which is good. This is why we do this as well, because it holds us accountable, quite frankly. But yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about some secrets to longevity. Last week, I did real quick. We're talking about redoing our course a little bit for next year about the longevity blueprint. And whether you're an accidental runner like we kind of were as we got older, we always were active, but as we got really in our 30s, we started running, and we just figured it out. And we want to make sure that people are dealing with injuries, so you stay injury free. Obviously, for those who are struggling to eat, you want to reduce inflammation, just want to get stronger. That's the stuff that our whole course encompasses. So we'll tell you more about that later, but they talked a little bit about that last week. So anyway, today we want to go through some keys to the longevity.
Oh, it's coming. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm like going, where's the stuff? Okay.
Yeah. Right.
Basically, all right. We know we have to stay active. You have to move it or lose it. My father made it to almost 99 because he was active his whole entire life. He was a farmer, gardener when he had his, he had a small business, but they installed, TVs. It was a physical type thing that he always did his whole life. And it was his staying and walking every day and doing all those things. And even the last 2 years of his life, I was, strength training with him, doing all that. He only had the ability to walk, stay mobile, and stay completely on his own until 96 because of that. And then, honestly, if he had his eyesight, he probably could have stayed to the end like that. But because he moved his whole entire life. Unfortunately, we tend not to think about the earlier we can adopt health and longevity and thinking about that. We never think about that in our 20s, our 30s, sometimes not even in our 40s or 50s. But these are the times when you can start to instill these habits. Strength training has to be part of your routine. It just has to be. The two most important things that are going to determine how you live later in life is the strength of your bones and the amount of muscle mass that you have. Strength training preserves and strengthens both of us. We start losing that at 50. You start losing bone and you start losing muscle. If you do not do things and not just, a couple things here and here randomly or strategically, really lifting heavier weights, putting more load on your bones, causing your muscles to grow and maintain. We're always, as runners, want to be the leanest, lightest, so we can be fastest, but you need muscle, you need strength, to do that all. And that strength and that muscle becomes far more important than how fast you can run when we talk into our 60s and 70s. Yes, that's nice. And that's, as runners, what we always think about, but you need that strength behind it because that's going to keep you from the falls, keep you to have the stability that you need and that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, ideally, I know this may seem like a lot, but try to get 8,000 to 12,000 steps every day.
If you're a runner, you're
going to be doing that.
You're getting those. But the key for, doing your long runs or doing any run and getting those miles, some people get those miles in on their morning run. The rest of the day, you need to think about still moving throughout the day. And that's the key. And that's what a lot of us do. We do that hard thing in the morning and then we're either at our desk or we're sitting or we're doing that. The 12,000 steps a day, kind of think of that at the broad term. Even if you got 6,000 this morning, still make sure you're moving throughout the day. But studies show these are the magic numbers of people that live longer get this many steps.
Yeah, exactly. And then ideally you want to get, over 150 minutes. If you're running, you're getting that, right? But if you incorporate that strength training for 3 days a week at 30 minutes a pop, you're going to get that. And you really need to be focusing on that. And don't neglect vigorous activity because you got to push yourself.
Yeah, don't be afraid of that. And I think as we get older, we have these, like I said, we have these protective mechanisms and we tend to want to go towards, and our body is kind of wired that way to protect, to be safe, to kind of safeguard. And as we get older, those get more powerful because, I've seen it in my older siblings, I've seen it in older people, and yes, caution is one thing, but you can still push your body. You can still do those speed works, not as much as you did, maybe not as fast as you did, but that intensity and still working that later in life, will preserve your speed that you have. You'll never be as fast as you were in your 40s, but you cannot lose in your 60s and 70s. You can still, by doing that, and we're talking not 150 minutes of vigorous exercise. That's the moderate exercise with adding that vigorous, point. Like I said, with some, those speed works and things that you do. Don't be afraid if you safely do it. You can push your body because it wants to adapt. It wants to, that's how we get adaptions is by to keep challenging it. Instead of that pull to, we're older now, we need to take it easy, we need to do all these things. When actuality, it's just that we just need to recover from the things that we're actually doing. So, huge part of it. Don't, like I said, safely do the intensity, but it's something that you should be working on. This over 150 minutes with adding that vigorous thing can, studies show, increases your brain.
Which is what we all want to do. We want to age. We want to be active and happy, right? And then obviously this is why it factors into your mobility and balance. It's so critical.
The number one thing, once you hit 70, is falls. And if you fall, statistically, I think it's after 85, your lifespan is usually about 6 months after that. I mean, that's like a shocking, when you know that your loved ones or or like, that could end their life. And that, I mean, that's serious, but it is serious. And that's what studies show time and time again. The older you get, those falls have critical, impacts. So you have to be mobile, but you also have to work on that balance, and you have to have the strength. All those things combined are going to, it can't, completely mitigate any falls that you have, but being able to mitigate the damage that it does, So it's super important. Like I said, we all want to live to be in our 70s, 80s, 90s, and that, but you want to be healthy while you're doing it. This is a huge part of it.
And that ties into the strength training, why it's so critical as we age. So another big one is staying positive, right? We know, we talk about this, this common sense wise, but you got to manage your stress. We live in such stressful times right now, between family, between work, let alone what's going on in the world, outside world, which is going to impact us to some degree. My recommendation, do not watch the news. I try to stay away from it. Yeah. It'll only aggravate you. Doesn't matter where your beliefs are and which side of the aisle, but you're going to get frustrated and aggravated. It's not worth the stress. It really isn't. It's
designed to
it's designed to do that. So just, that's why going for a run is always good as stress relief. You have enough stress in your life to then have that added in. We don't watch it at all. So I just encourage you guys to make your own decisions, but you're going to notice a difference if you stay away from it. I'll tell you that.
Specific things to manage your stress. If you need to cut back on some of the things you're doing, we're in a society where the kids have to play 5 soccer games. They have this, they have that, or we have these game. We're doing this, we're doing that. We're always just trying to do more, which, some of that is good. We need to be doing a lot, but we also have to manage if that is creating so much stress on us. That's where the balance is not. You have to keep that in balance. And I know it's hard with all the things and we're getting pulled in all these different directions, but stress will age you faster than anything else too. It's one of those things. So get those habits, have the breathing, like I said, going for a run. There's lots of different things that you can do to mitigate the stress, and absolutely the stuff that you have control over, like what you watch, and that is a big deal.
Yeah, exactly. And then I love this one, practicing gratitude. I am grateful every morning. I have this person by my side as we age, and I'm grateful for family and friends, and for you guys as well.
Absolutely. Starting out, I mean, it's 5 things that you're grateful for in the morning is a huge part of just getting yourself in that mind for a run. I think those 2 things, I mean, it just sets you up for a good day, and we need to be grateful. A lot of times there's a lot coming at you and you might not, it's hard to think, but sometimes it's, you got a roof over your head, you're able to breathe, you're able to get up, you're able to put those shoes on, you're able to go run. I mean, whatever it is, You know, I know you can find 5 things, but gratitude is a huge thing. When they study populations, the people in those blue zones and all that stuff, you know, this is part of it too.
And that was the thing that she told me as I was talking to her on her trip. She's like, people here are very active and they're happy and they're social. And so that
I mean, it was
you know,
an
just
inspiring place to be.
exactly. And so and then it leads into the next one about prioritizing happiness, right? It's a choice. You have a choice to be happy in that regard. So we choose to be happy and we encourage you guys the same way. But that's going to just relate to all this stuff and just be conscious. Be conscious of your surroundings, of your thoughts, or conscientious, excuse me.
Yeah. Be mindful.
Yeah.
Your words matter. Your thoughts matter. We need to not be so reactive and always take a step back and kind of, you know, is this the right thing? Is this what I should be saying? If this, just like I said, being aware and being mindful of our actions and what we say and, you know, what we do. That's a huge part. People that are conscientious, you know, tend to have more fulfilled lives. People that have more fulfilled lives tend to have longer, you know, happiness. This all ties into longevity and living longer and living happier in those years.
Yeah, and this one is probably the most important on there is you have to eliminate toxic relationships because it just drains you. And I would encourage you to take inventory of those relationships, either
Absolutely.
distance yourself if you can, or just cut them out. And we've done that in our lives when we were living previously, and I'm so grateful for that. You don't
Absolutely.
realize it until you're away from it. You're like, man, I feel better because I'm not around that anymore. So that's one of the best things you can do is just cut it out. You're not going to miss it.
Yeah, your relationships support you and make you feel better and lift you up. If they're not doing that, then they're not a relationship worth having.
Yep, exactly. Sleep, we talk about that all the time. We've learned that over the last couple of years, how important sleep is because your body repairs and regenerates when it sleeps.
So you might need more. We know as we get older, you know, we do need more because while we can still run, we can still do all these things, we just need more recovery time. Sleep is the part where your body recovers. This is where you get all those adaptations. That's where your body heals itself, regenerates, and gets you ready for the next day. So as long as you are doing that, your body can handle whatever it is if you give it enough recovery. So huge part of it.
Yeah, ideally try to get 7 to 9, less than 7. And I was surprised at this, but more than 9 can actually decrease your lifespan by up to 38%.
So too little does it, but too much does it also. So it's usually that 7 to 9. If you can get in that range, that's the good thing.
Yeah. And then embrace the nap. I mean, this one.
There's been studies that show significant studies that show, and we're not talking taking a 4-hour nap in the afternoon, you know, and I know people in the workforce, you know, that's probably not part of it. But if you have something, you know, taking that short 20-30 minute nap has shown to have benefits and, you know, equated to some of the more longevity and, you know, increasing your lifespan.
Yeah, exactly. And then just get regular sleep patterns as best you can. Try to go to bed at the same time and get up at the same time. It's just going to get you in that rhythm. Obviously, things are going to interrupt that from time to time, but you know when you get a good night's sleep, how good you feel, and if you have some consistency in that.
Absolutely. And this is one of the biggest ones. You have to eat right. You do. I mean, 100% of the time, no, that's pretty hard for most people. 80 to 90% of the time, yeah, you should. I mean, it's just your body. You're asking it to do all these things. You can't fill it with garbage. You know, you're going to feel bad. You're not going to feel good. We always just look at, oh, I'm never going to have this. I'm never going to have that. But think of what you will have. You will have more energy. You will feel better. You will be better, you know, running. All these activities that you try to do, you'll just feel better. We are a big proponent of eliminating seed oils. Pretty much if you eliminate seed oils, you're going to eliminate all junk food, processed food, all of that. So you start with that, you're going to get rid of all the stuff that you shouldn't be eating anyways, is how I feel. Because those are the number one ingredients of any packaged processed food.
Yeah, and exactly. And we say this all the time. We're going to keep saying this, but we're in our 50s and we're our high school weight. We're our ideal weight. We know we'll be this weight the rest of our lives because we focus on eliminating seed oils and we eat a variety of fruits and vegetables. And that's just part of
Color.
how we do
Yeah.
it. You need color, right?
You need
And
all those
quality
colors.
protein. We talk about this all the time, especially as we get older. You got to focus on protein.
And we need more as we get. You need more as a runner, but as an older runner, we need more. Remember, sarcopenia is a big thing. Losing muscle. You will lose muscle if you're not building it. So you have to give your body enough the protein that it needs to build those muscles, along with the strength. Like I said, the strength training to facilitate that muscle growth. But huge part of it, getting enough protein and water.
Yeah.
Always, it just helps with everything.
I mean, if you really had to summarize it, if you did these 4 things consistently, you would be, you're going to feel a lot better if you just did this even for a couple of weeks. And that's all it takes is a couple of weeks to make some changes, to build new habits, and you'd be surprised.
You can detox from all of that.
You can detox from a lot of that.
Your body does not crave junk food. It only craves junk food if you eat it. Your body doesn't naturally crave any of that stuff.
Yeah, and it's designed to be that way. Keep that in mind because the sugar and the seed oils that are inside of it, it is scientifically designed to be that way. So, said last week, if you guys to help us with, excuse me, as we're kind of making some tweaks to our program, if you want to give us some feedback, we'd love it. Just go to runtips.us/survey. That's runtips.us/survey. And then there's just a few questions on there. We'd love your feedback, just some things we can incorporate in so we don't miss anything. But we've got a good stuff, but we're always looking for more. And so we'd appreciate that if you guys are open.
Yeah, whatever you guys are struggling with, or something that you guys have a vast, years and years of running or whatever, things that you've come across, things that, have worked for you, have not worked for you, and our stuff, or things that you're struggling with. We're all trying to address the things that we've dealt with and what we've overcome, but we want to know it from you too.
Yep, exactly. So that one more time for those of you listening, it's runtips.us/survey. We'll take you to that page, just a couple of questions, and then we'd appreciate that. And then lastly, if you guys want some help getting started, I know everybody gets that time of year, it's the holidays, or Thanksgiving's a couple weeks away, right? So some people are really stressed out about this. And last year, we tried to help you get through that. But we know a lot of people, you get stuck and just life gets in the way. But if you're stuck and you feel you need some help, you can also go to runtips.us/call. That's runtips.us/call. And we can help you guys get started. Just get you unstuck and get you that little bit of some motivation to move forward if you want to. There's no charge for that, obviously, but we're looking to help you guys as best we can as we get into the end of this year and into next year. That's what our goal is for all of us and for you guys.
2023
is almost here. A few weeks away now. It's shocking that we're that close. But yeah, so you guys have yourself a great Saturday because you deserve it. We want to make sure you guys get out into the weekend. And
I know a chilly day here in
Austin.
Austin. Back to Madeira, I had perfect weather every day. So yeah, this morning was quite chilly.
Yeah, it was a bit of a shock here because it's cold front. Yeah, no, we had just some tech stuff. Sorry. Yeah, just drastic change in weather here. And so it's that time of year. It's November, for crying out loud. It's the middle of November. I cannot.
Yeah, and I know a lot of you guys are up north. We're like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, exactly.
We've had this for how long? All right, so but won't complain about it because it's still better than that Florida heat in July, in August. So.
Yeah, although I miss the Florida warmth right now. But anyway, that's fine. It's all said.
All right.
So you guys have yourself a great weekend, and we'll chat with you next week.
Happy Friday. Or